Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Phil and Ryan right back here with you on Listen Up on Ryan this Monday, the 24th, recovering from a long weekend, a party weekend. But hey, not a lot of smiles. As you and I feel like it's about time to hang our shoes up, huh? Or our basketball shoes, whatever you want to call it. We promise we're not going anywhere. We'll be right here for this UConn Huskies fan base and these amazing people, these amazing fans, subscribers, Ryan. But unfortunately, it's like, what do we say, Ryan? I mean, here we go all over again. Jana El Alfy, it was just not even 24 hours ago. Ryan, El Alfy was Egypt's best player as she led her home country in points, 21, rebounds, 11, and minutes, 27 per game. Now, we received a lot of comments, Ryan, leading up to this episode on this Monday morning, starting off a brand new week, kind of on the downside. Again, we received a lot of comments, and you and I did go back, and we appreciate that because of our subscribers talking it up. We went back. I just looked at more highlights this morning of El Alfy. She gets to the glass quick. She can split through defenders quick. But, however, Ryan, and this is from CT Insider. We appreciate their information on this. Updated information. However, the Husky went down with an apparent non-contact lower leg injury halfway through the second quarter of Egypt's final game on Sunday. The 6'5" center immediately sat on the floor and grabbed at her left ankle. She was ushered off the court on a wheelchair.
Yeah, I mean it's just more disappointment, right? And you kind of just got the feeling that unfortunately this was, kind of already coming. Like you could see it already happening even before it happened. And we've just kind of gotten used to over the past 2 years of all these players getting injured. And it's gotten to the point now where I believe every single player over the past 2 years that we've been covering the team, every single player has gotten injured or that's caused
La
them
la la la
to
la 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 la.
that's
I'm sorry, holding my ears. No, go ahead.
it's caused them to miss at least 1, 2 games, and a lot of the players have missed obviously more than just a couple games. I think the only players on the roster that haven't missed any games are the players that just came to UConn a month ago, which are the three new freshmen. But Jana was absolutely tearing it up, and a couple of you guys mentioned it in the comments, and it was as right after kind of we did the episode on Jana that we talked about her, and she was absolutely just going through all these teams at the U19 World Cup. A couple of days ago, I saw against Chinese Taipei, she scored or Taipei, she scored 38 points, grabbed 18 rebounds. She led all players in the whole tournament, 150 points, averaged 27.6 points per game. And just like you said, it was just yesterday against their game against Italy in the final game in the second quarter just went down, and it appeared to be she was holding that foot ankle area, and like you said, she couldn't put any pressure on it at all. They had to wheel her off the court into the locker room. So I mean, at this point, we can just hope for the best and hope that it's nothing serious and it doesn't hold her out too long. Obviously, she's probably going to miss the trip in August now, which I think a lot of us were looking forward to that, not just, obviously for all the players, but especially the younger players like Jana, who, could really benefit from that tournament and really prove themselves even more. But unfortunately, she'd probably miss that trip now. Hopefully she doesn't miss any time to start the regular season. But I mean, nobody knows the severity of the injury right now. It's obviously too early to tell or to hear any news. But only at
Yeah,
this point we can just hope for the best.
Yeah, details of the injury were not immediately known Sunday. And again, Ryan, we thank our CT insider, Maggie Benoni, for that information. Again, Jana El Alfy injured. Unknown to the extent of the injury, as we just discussed. Ryan, I want to take it a step further and then kind of not preview what's coming up Wednesday. But again, we're going to actually resume, if everything goes as planned, we're going to resume the series on Friday. There's only, 2 players left to go over?
2 players, yeah.
So Friday, we will resume with the second to the last player Friday morning. Wednesday, Ryan, we're going to preview the cross-country trip. And where is that to, you said?
I know it's in Europe. I honestly don't,
Europe,
I don't know
no, that's fine.
What country they're going to, but
I
know
say out of country
Yeah.
for now. I believe you're right. Yeah, Europe. So with that said, the reason I bring it up, what happens now? I mean, what because we had a lot of feedback. Obviously, we weren't too sure of these games, and we were pretty much sure, 99% sure, these games do not count in August. We'll get into comments in just a second. These games do not count in August. But again, what kind of, or does it not bring up any debate? What kind of debate does that bring up? What's your opinions on, games? Of course, these players love to play. They love to, even during the offseason, get them out there on the court. They love to play basketball. It's in their heart, right? It's what they eat, sleep, and breathe. All right. With that said, Ryan, how do you feel? The reason I bring up, how do you feel? Because you just saw about Jana El Alfy injured in a non-UConn Husky game, right? So, and that's what we talk about. This is the podcast, the UConn Huskies podcast, women's basketball podcast. With that said, what's your thoughts on games that necessarily don't count?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, any player can get hurt at any time, and it doesn't necessarily have to happen even in a game. It happens in practice, like we saw a lot last season as well. I think 2 or 3 players got injured in practice, and it's unfortunate when it happens at all. But I think for Jana, I mean, she was giving it all. Obviously, we could tell by watching those games and watching the highlights that, like I said, she was just, out there giving it everything she had. And she showed all of us and all of her players, teammates at UConn, especially all the coaches and Gino, who I'm sure were keeping a close eye on all the games that Jana was playing in, that she can really score the ball. She can defend, and she can pretty much do anything that Gino asked her to do. So I think these games were very important for Jana's case, even though they didn't obviously count towards UConn's record or anything to do with UConn for that matter. But I just think for Jana, they were really important games for her. And I think, when she would have gotten back to the team, I think obviously for this upcoming August trip, when they're going to Europe, I think she definitely would have gotten a lot of minutes during the whole time during those games that they're going to play in Europe. So obviously, like I said, it is disappointing because I think we could have seen even more out of her. And obviously she would have been playing for the actual team, even though it technically would have been preseason. But unfortunately, who knows? Maybe she will still be able to play. But right now, obviously, it isn't looking that good.
Yeah, I will ask you, Ryan, please keep me up to date on that injury if you catch news of it before I do, and we will bring you all, guys, the latest news and opinions and the latest updates. We promise to try our best to stay on top of it, Ryan. And I also saw the Huskies add Tanya Cardoza and Ben Cantor to women's basketball coaching staff, and that was a week ago. So we'll save them 2 big names for when the series continues after the roster is completed. How about, in the words of Gino, how about you and I just shut the up and not necessarily right here win games, but let's move on to comments. Jason D'Amico, 29, Phil? Geez, you are a baby. Laugh out loud. Happy birthday, you mutton. When talking about Nika, we need to remember that she was thrown into the starting role. It can be argued that from a technical standpoint, she wasn't ready, but I believe that she handled her new role perfectly like a killer. Mistakes were made, tempers flared, but in the end, I think she gained Gino's trust and respect. I know she has mine. Peace, fellas, and thank you, Jason.
Yeah, and I think she really gained everybody's as far as that goes. And I think in the end, it definitely was the right decision. And I think she's definitely done a lot of positives for the team. I think she grew up pretty quick. When she came to UConn, and then like Jason said, she kind of got thrown into her role. And I think she really had to learn pretty quick. And I think she learned and like I said, grew up pretty quick, and kind of just learned how to be a leader for the team, and kind of learn the system as well. I think she had to learn a lot of things all at one time, and I think she did. I'd say a pretty good job at that, and it is kind of hard to believe that this is already her last season here at UConn. Like I said, pretty sad to see a couple of these seniors go at the end of the year, but I think for Nika, it's a lot of positives moving forward. And most of the time she can stay pretty healthy, plays a lot of minutes, so she's definitely going to have a pretty big role in this upcoming season.
And while on the topic of Jana El Alfy this morning, unfortunate news. And then he goes, side note, Jana El Alfy versus China, 38 points, 18 rebounds, 11 for 14 from the charity stripe. And then he puts 2 eyeballs, Ryan.
Yeah, and then a couple of days after that, obviously on here talking about this morning the injury she did suffer.
Let's move on to the disruptive one. How about this is going to be the key decision for Gino to make this season. I think he loves Nika, and obviously last season would have been a disaster without her. So I am glad she was here. But this year is different. This year, she is not the best point guard option for this team. So what would Gino do? Will he force her into the starting lineup because he loves her? Or will he do what is best for the team and use her as a spark off the bench? And Ryan, before you go, just a shout out to everyone. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. I see them all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that definitely is. It sparks a pretty interesting debate, and I never really thought about that, but I guess it could be pretty useful to have Nika coming off the bench. I just personally can't see Nika coming off the bench. It just seems like that'd be pretty weird, but I honestly wouldn't be surprised with how Gino rolls sometimes and some of the surprises he does throw at the starting lineup. But as much as Nika has done for this team, obviously not a whole bunch of scoring. And like they kind of just said, with Paige coming back, hopefully with AZ, Caroline getting healthy, obviously Nika isn't the best scoring option, I would say, in terms of point guards. But in terms of, still having kind of the leader, mentality on the court, energy, all of that stuff we talked about when we did do that episode on Nika Mule. I just think that's hard to sit on the bench. Even though she still could get a lot of minutes coming off the bench, I think that would be something very hard decision for Gino to make, to sit Nika Mule on the bench, even though she doesn't score a lot of points.
I have to read this one very quickly. Giannis Press, not just a happy birthday from my online family, but this is Ryan's online family as well. And I say this because, Ryan, you've always wanted to visit London, and I think you'll like this a lot. Happy 29th, Phil, from all your online followers, families in London. We will be raising a glass for you tonight, sir. Thank you both once again for all you do. London, Ryan, London.
Yeah, I do love London. Like I said, I would love to visit there someday, and hopefully maybe we can hand out some t-shirts there as well. But yeah, we definitely do appreciate it wherever you are watching the podcast. We definitely do appreciate it as always.
All right, how about let's not wait to the last minute, Ryan, to pack our bags. How about we start packing as of right now before we get on the next episode Wednesday morning? And let's get ready for a trip to Europe. Phil and Rye on Listen Up.